Hello, I'm Paul O'Kelly with the Irish newspapers for Friday, August the 16th, 2024. The death of Friends actor Matthew Perry manages to push the 40,000 deaths in Gaza off many a front page. But in fairness, two papers, the Examiner and the Star, go big on the conflict, with the Examiner filling much of page one with a picture of the infant Rim, the sole survivor of an attack on her family in war-ravaged Khan Yunis. The Star devotes pages 4 and 5 to Gaza, with a photo montage showing small children grieving against the backdrop of the rubble that had once been their homes. And while the Sun insists that the Matthew Perry overdose story is of prime importance, it does manage to find a local angle in its second lead, Killer Drug Panic Alert. They quote the HSE's Nikki Killeen's warning that just one tab of a new super-strength MDMA could be very risky. The same theme dominates the front of the Sun, though with another drug known as nitazene as their chief worry, and a page 6 headline making the astonishing claim that this new lab-created Benzedrine copy is 500 times as potent as heroin. No authority is cited for this figure, but the Star does note that a red alert about nitazene has just been issued by the HSE. The Irish Times and the Irish Independent lead on housing and construction stories. In the Times, Jennifer Bray reports that building flaws in the Children's Hospital have added to woes that already include massive cost overruns and endless delays. However, taxpayers will be relieved to learn from Jennifer's report that at a health department meeting in March, plenty of time was devoted to hospital naming and an exercise in marketing and branding. Meanwhile, few will shed any tears for losses suffered by Zerico, the Cyprus-based vulture fund. According to the Independent, the vultures managed the astonishing feat of losing money on 120 distressed houses they bought at a knockdown price during the crash. Dig a little deeper, however, and we learned that they wasted much potential profit in the High Court, trying and failing to defend several attempted and quite illegal evictions. Migrant protests have largely left the front pages, with the exception of the Mail. There, a new and chilling word, doxing, enters the headline writer's vocabulary. Doxing is the sinister practice whereby protesters follow employees in places like Thornton Hall, recording their license plates and revealing their personal information online. But the most distressing personal story in the papers today is about Helen Culpin from Carlow. Following her rape at the age of 17 by a local farmer, Miss Culpin, now 90, suffered a horror show of shaming, verbal humiliation, and even upskirting by the local priest, with details on page 2 of the Examiner, too graphic for me to repeat here. And notwithstanding assurances from the Department of Children, Miss Culpin has yet to receive a single penny of their long-promised compensation. The Irish Times and the Irish Daily Mail both report on the closure by TV chef Dylan McGrath of two of his Dublin restaurants. A third, Faith Street Social, remains open. The Times focuses on his rising costs, while the Mail looks at VAT. The Restaurant Association predicts a coming VAT-based apocalypse, with 3/4 of their members closing for good if the October budget doesn't cut VAT from 13.5% to the so-called COVID concession rate of 9%. Finally, the Examiner pulls you in with a front-page teaser from its page 11 column by student Jane Cohen. Time for upper age limit at nightclubs. Well, it all seems a bit ageist, until you read of this poor girl's experience trying to get in. She talks of cold shouldering by bouncers and all those over 21 signs at the doors. But it's when she does manage to get in that the real nightmare begins. The suits have spent all day at the office and they haven't managed to go home and change. So she suggests, what about some age-appropriate alternatives? And she offers a few. A quiet drink in your local, a cup of tea in your living room, maybe even a friendly game of draughts. All very insulting, I thought, until I realised, God, Jane Cohen has just described my life down to the very last detail. Actually, Jane, it's backgammon, not drafts, but just flip the board over and there it is, the one with the triangles and the dice. But otherwise you're spot on. Oh, pardon me. I think that's the kettle. Join me tomorrow and Sunday for another look at the papers. More details in dublinchampion.ie. Have you got the sugar there? Yeah.